So your dream destination, what would that have to be?
Space.
What?
What? So, I've been watching a lot of movies lately, and I used to get really irritated when I used to, when I used and there, the popcorn is so expensive. That's the reason pizza was there. I go, I eat the pizza, the sauce, the cheese, the toppings.
This is
the
not
pineapple,
about
and
pizza!
the
Well, so anyway, this was supposed to be a pizza analogy, but obviously that de-escalated really quickly. Well, anyway, everyone, welcome to the Eversense. This is our first ever video, and we wanted to start it off with an absolute banger. So, we pulled some strings, and we were able to bring in one of the most influential and one of the most uprising creators of the silver screen. This man is known for the way he composes his screen. He's like the maestro of the silver screen, and he has made a few dents in Tollywood history. And his most recent film, Mahanti, had broken records that weren't even, breakable. So his next movie, before his next movie with PRabhas, he's in conversation with us, the siblings from the Eversense. So please give a huge and a very warm welcome to the man himself,
Nag Ashwin!
oh my god, I can't believe this is actually happening. My hands are so shaking. Oh my god. Nagi, welcome to the Eversense. It is an absolute honor to be interviewing you. I mean, I would shake your hand right now if that was possible, but
Yeah.
once again, thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to a lot of people. Now, we should just get into it. Alright, to kick it off, why don't we start with an easy one? So Nagi, your day-to-day job as a director, how would you describe it? Is it exciting? Is it thrilling? And can you do it in 10 words?
My work as a director. It's about making sure it's just solving problems essentially. Being a director is essentially problem solving 24/7 and trying to guess what the next problem is before it happens. I think that's more than 10 words, sorry, but yeah.
Well, of course, Nagi, I'm pretty sure that you face a lot of problems on a day-to-day basis. Especially being a director, it must be one hell of a hard job. Problem solving surely does play a vital role, but I'm quite sure you're already used to solving a lot of different kinds of problems, considering that you come from a family full of engineers and doctors. That must have taken you quite a bit of, convincing to get your parents out of that shell. Now, eventually you went on to do mass communications and became a director that is now defining an era, is defining a generation. But I'm pretty sure that getting there was a very hard, grueling, and difficult task. So how did you do it? And do you have any pointers for guys like us?
Yeah, it took a long time. I mean, basically, I convinced them. My 11th and 12th, I did maths and biology. I did both. I'm by PC, and after that, I got a seat in a college through an entrance test. So I got to go there. Maybe if I didn't get a seat on my, uh, I might have been pressured to because I wouldn't have something to do. I might have been pressured to do an engineering or a thing. That's why I just wrote like every random entrance that I could find across the country, whether it was or journalism or business or whatever. Everything across the country I wrote. I wrote army also, AFMC, I wrote whatever, everything I could find. Yeah. I just thought whatever I get in, I'll get. My main motto at that point was to leave Hyderabad, I think. And after that was, yeah. So anyway, so because I got into that thing, I think I managed to convince, I mean, my parents were fine for a few years. And then after that, again, it's a struggle till even after I made my first film, there'll still be doubts whether you'll get your second film. So you'll make your second film, and if there's still, that worry, your parents' worry, I think will never go.
Well, Nagi, from the looks of it looks like you had to do a lot of convincing work. And it's actually quite inspiring to hear that you did M by PC, which is one of the hardest courses in our country. And a lot of people hopefully will take inspiration from that, and that will help them overcome their fear from joining the film industry. Now, apart from the fear of not being able to succeed, there's another fear that a lot of newcomers have before joining the film industry, and that is because of nepotism, especially nowadays because of all the rumors coming out on the internet after the Sushant Singh Rajput incident. A lot of people believe that nepotism will hinder their chances of a good career in the film industry, and unfortunately that's a very big thing right now, because sometimes people with or without talent will be denied access into this kingdom of an industry. So nepotism, what's your take on it, and how much of an extent, how big of a role do you think it actually plays in getting people to join the film industry?
There are many issues all over the place, whether it's the film industry, whether it's corporate offices, whether it's like, for example, even if it's a Kirana store, that Kirana store fellow will give his Kirana store to his son at the end of the day. So trying to say that it's wrong that an actor would want his son to become an actor doesn't make sense. That's going to happen in any industry. And yeah, so I think it's fair enough, because like all the big actors of our country, whether it's Shah Rukh or Akshay or Deepika or Katrina, whatever, none of them have any family background. So I think it's a little overblown. I think it's this age. We live in an age of social media where if you say one, it can become a million. It's just so magnified.
Well, of course, as you said, I think perspective is something that's really necessary for this society. Due to this unforeseen situation, this unprecedented event of the coronavirus, the film industry has, in a sense, come to a complete halt. And while big actors and producers and directors can afford to lay it off for a while, that's not the case for every single person in this industry, right? There are a lot of small-time people who live on a day-to-day basis by the things that they get from a job. Now, for these kind of people that are going through tough times, what do you think that the government can do to help them?
I don't know, until like basically first month or two, I think the film industry or even something from the government, they tried giving people provisions and all of that. But that's not a solution. I think the solution is some sort of work only, normalcy. Yeah, so Adochantarku, it doesn't make a difference. I mean, will a subsidy and a concept will only come when you think about the whole industry as one. Like if movies are suffering because it's so many people are stuck with half-finished stuff or like unknown stuff or whatever, and they're looking at losses or piling up of interest and all that. So, and Danta, once theaters are opened, also it's going to be a long time before we see the sort of numbers that were there before. So people are looking at losses. So yeah, the government ideally should reduce things like entertainment tax, whatever GST on ticket prices and all that, because that is the only way that it should be. There should be like how you give so much subsidies to IT companies who come and set up your companies in financial district. They get tax holidays. They get so many benefits. So I think as an industry that has suffered, also I think it makes sense to do that, but that's a decision that will come much later, I guess.
Of course, as you have stated quite clearly, most of the things that the government can do, even if it's a subsidy or a plan, might just be temporary. That's not a permanent solution. And I think, just as you have said, normalcy will be our best bet at getting things back to normal, which is quite ironic. But anyway, moving on to a more happier note, I was going through your Twitter once again, and there was actually a post that struck me out as quite interesting. It was about an alleged Mr. India 2 remake, and you were very vivid upon seeing that, and you made a reaction that a remake or a reboot had a very sacred process, and that the people that were originally involved in the movie during the first time had to be involved during the remake as well. Now, according to you, if you had the chance to remake any film of your choice, which film would it be?
I mean, definitely Mr. India is one of my favorites. I'd love to do that if nobody's doing it. Uh, yeah, and Aditya 369 in Telugu at some point.
Well, I'm quite sure a lot of us would be incredibly excited to watch the reboots of those films, especially if you did it, Nagi. Since the film industry is on the big screen, it's under a microscope with the media and social media in general. And most of the time, many people, and now I don't want to be rude or mean anything bad by this, but it's a common misconception that, the film industry is very scandalous. Now, there's that obvious stigma from stopping people from joining the industry because of that fear that, the media and the paparazzi will show them in a wrong light. So how can you convince people, how can you destigmatize the people and tell them that the film industry is a safe place for you to go ahead and express your ideas?
I genuinely think it's work. I think wherever you go, like whether you start a restaurant, whether you start an IT startup, web app or whatever, whether you start a job somewhere at a company, pharma industry, wherever you go, manufacturing, car company, it doesn't matter. I think there is drama everywhere, there are hierarchies everywhere, there are scandals everywhere, there are people who are corrupt everywhere, there are people who are nice everywhere. So I think the only reason that we talk about the film industry is because it reaches the paper. Somebody will say this director or this actor did something. It's mostly gossip most of the time, but it's because these people are entertainment. Nobody will say this pharma managing director did something with somebody else, because nobody's interested in that pharma managing director. Nobody's interested. Yeah, so nobody's interested in some tractor, massive, like hundreds and thousands of crore tractor company could be there. But what that guy did on Saturday night, nobody cares, basically, because and that's why it'll never make it to the TV or the newspapers. So he could have done the worst scandal, whatever possible, but nobody talks about that. Yeah, nobody talks. Could have been a murderer also, but nobody talks about that guy. But they'll talk about the movie industry because it'll make it to people should get.
Okay, so moving on from all of the dark and sad stuff, I think we have to address the elephant in the room. PRabhas 21. It's gonna be one of the biggest things of 2021, and I'm sure a lot of people are excited to see it. So, Nagi, do you think you could tell us a few things in advance about what to expect from PRabhas 21?
I mean, it's what's it going to be like? I mean, without revealing anything about the story and genre, all I can say is it's going to be very exciting because I've been waiting to do this for a long time, and it's very experimental in terms of story. Forget about the budget or forget about the technical side and all that, but just the idea, the story idea itself is very tricky. సో ఆ స్టోరీ ఐడియాని సరిగ్గా అందరి దగ్గర చేర్చడం అనేది ఛాలెంజ్. ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఎల్స్, ఆల్ యువర్ బడ్జెట్, యువర్ టెక్నీషియన్స్, ఆల్ ఆఫ్ దట్ ఇస్ సెకండరీ. But I think it's very exciting for me to tell the story correctly and well.
Well, okay, so I guess that's that. But in the case tomorrow that you would want to switch up careers, this might sound silly to you and to a lot of other people as well, but I can't help but ask this. With that great hairdo of yours, I'm pretty sure you would make a huge splash. Have you ever considered becoming a politician?
When I go into politics with a hairstyle, going to politics only is one ridiculous, one mad question. With a hairstyle like this, yeah, might as well, no? If you're going, you might as well go like this, yeah. Yeah.
You go to very exotic locations just for one scene in a movie because you like it. Now, is there any dream destination where you would love to film a movie?
Space.
Space. Okay, I mean, okay, that caught me completely off guard, but okay, why not? Space is a place, it's a magnificent place. I don't know if you could actually make a movie there, but it would be incredible if you did. I would love to watch it, it would be completely amazing. But as you said, there's a long way to go before we actually make a movie in space. And as surprising as it may sound, Hollywood actually plans to make a movie in space quite soon. So, coming to that point, how much of a difference do you think there is between Hollywood and the Indian film industry?
But I think what we don't have is probably a certain sort of, yeah, I don't know. I mean, some discipline towards the craft, like, and also obviously the budgets are very different. So the kind of skilled workers you get are very different. Like you obviously, it's very much cheaper to make stuff in India, but it's also much cheaper because you get much lesser quality workmanship. I mean, we need to skill people. We need to really skill people up. I think, like more number of people. Like if you're into camera or if you're into art or costume or VFX or something, we have some really really good people who are as good as Hollywood, but the very few of them. The very few of them, maybe in the West, have a lot of them, and they're used to paying them a certain amount of money. Here, we have very few, and we're not used to paying them high amounts of money.
A few moments later.
So we cannot end an interview without the rapid fire round. So I'm going to be asking you a few questions and you have to answer really fast. Capiche?
Okay, try this, sir.
Okay, let's start. So your favorite food?
Soup.
Mm.
Is soup a food?
Your favorite place?
Place. Bed.
Oh.
Sleep. Bed.
Who is your favorite coworker?
Co-worker, huh? I enjoy working with Priyanka. It's my producer slash wife. Who's
Okay.
pretty chilling. Pretty chill.
Your best friend?
My best friend. Presently, I'm trying to make my kid. I have a son, 3-year-old fellow. I want to make him.
Oh.
Some days he's my best friend. Some days he doesn't recognize me.
Your worst enemy?
My worst enemy. It's also, I think, my bed.
Okay. So I'm going to be saying a few words and I want you to answer with whatever comes to your mind first. Okay? Film.
Shoot. I don't know. Film. Shoot. Black. I don't know. I thought of black and white as soon as you start film. I don't know why. Okay.
Camera.
Camera. Also film. I'm thinking film. For me, film is like the old school reels and all. No? So film, I think film.
Award.
Award. I don't know. I thought Mahanti. Mahanti came to mind. Okay.
Math.
Maths. Ramnachari. He is a maths teacher of mine. Huh.
Politicians.
Politicians. Yeah, not too much of a comment basically. And it's like actors off screen. You know.
Bus.
Airbus.
And plastic bag.
Plastic bag. Don't keep it near children.
Well, that's it for the rapid fire round. I was happy to have the rapid fire round with you. Okay, bye.
A few inches later.
So Nagi, before we wrap up, is there any message you would want to give to the future generation of filmmakers that are gonna make movies in space?
I mean, yeah, really no message really. Just really look forward to looking at the behind the scenes footage. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nagi. It was an honor to be interviewing you. We had an absolute blast. And we hope to see the same incredible smile in the future as well. Talking about the future, your biggest project, PRabhas 21, is coming up. So I would like to wish you and your entire team the best of luck with one of the biggest stars of Tollywood silver screen. Now, that's all the time we have for today. This is your host, Nikhil Guru, signing off from the Eversense.
Yeah, cool. Thanks so much, Meru. I'm looking forward to you guys doing more interviews and having a good time. Okay. So, అందరూ ప్లీజ్ ఎవర్ సెన్స్ యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్ కి సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేయండి, ఈ వీడియోని లైక్ చేయండి అండ్ సపోర్ట్ 2 young creators.